the Sportscast, April 14th, 2021. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels, YouTube, Periscope, and Apple Podcast. Actually, Periscope is Twitter now. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave a rating and review. It will help us out tremendously. Please subscribe on our YouTube channel. And please hit that notification on our Twitter. It will help us out tremendously. We're also on online digital radio. You can listen on thesportscast.net. You can read news on thesportscast.net. And also download our app, The Sportscast, for iOS. The Champions League quarterfinals has been a wrap. Man City, Real Madrid, Chelsea, and PSG advanced to the semifinals after a great quarterfinal stage. Maybe one team had it easier than the others. But joining us to iron this out all the way from the West Coast, Francisco Flores. Welcome back to the Sportscast.
Thank you for having me once again for Champions League, the best time of the year.
Best time of the year. And you haven't changed your Real Madrid flag in the background yet.
Nope. No, that's not going nowhere. It's going to stay here forever, even though it's a rental.
Exactly. Now, Madrid is on the conversation of winning La Liga possibly and also the Champions League. They're in a good run right now, especially after today. Also, Man City also has that conversation of winning the quadruple, winning the FA Cup, the League Cup, Champions League, and the Premier League. But if Francisco had to choose one of the two between La Liga and the Champions League, what would it be?
Oh, man. See, when earlier, a couple days ago, when we had AJ on the podcast, he asked that same question, and he said La Liga, just because it would mean that Atletico and Barcelona would not win the title. And ever since he said that, I was like, you know what? Because honestly, I would have said Champions League. That would have been like no questions asked. But I think ever since he said that, it's kind of changed my mind on it. I think I would prefer just slightly La Liga right now.
Yeah, that's
just
something.
So Atletico doesn't win it, or Barcelona.
Yeah, which I listened to that episode as well, and he brought up some good points. And it's the same thing for a Premier League club, where do you want to win the league or you want to win the Champions League? It's probably leveled, but if I had to look on popularity wise, I think the Champions League would win it for me.
Yeah, popularity wise, for sure. I think you're right.
Because everyone watches the Champions League final. In theory, the Premier League is kind of scattered because you could win it like a couple of weeks before the end of the Premier League.
Yep, kind of how City are about to do.
They got 12 more matches. But anyways, let's look on the matches that happened today and tomorrow. Starting off, what recently happened, Real Madrid advanced to the semifinals by just a draw today, a 0-0. Liverpool couldn't find the goals. Liverpool had to score at least 2 goals to advance to the semifinals, and they could not have done it. Madrid did a good job. Francisco, what were your thoughts over this match?
Well, it was a super conservative match. I don't really like playing that way. I think that the best Madrid team is the one that is going forward and is attacking and is always looking to win the game. Win the games no matter what. And so I was not really liking the game and how it was looking, especially those first 10 minutes when Liverpool got 2 shots and Courtois had to make some pretty amazing saves. He got 2 really good saves to kind of put out that fire, that Liverpool came out with, because they came out hot. They were looking for a goal straight away. Which I think that was the right strategy for them. They were coming at the defense really hard, especially when you have players that aren't playing in their natural positions, like Fede Valverde, who was playing at right back, slotting in for Vasquez, who was also not a natural right back. So we were having holes in that defensive line here for a while because we just don't have the players in those positions that they play naturally. Especially, with defenders and fullbacks. A lot of people give credit to fullbacks because they're fast and because they attack. But, to me, the best fullbacks have to be all around, good in attack and defense. And that's what we've been lacking. We don't have a player like that. And, Liverpool were right to expose those holes where the players that aren't our first choice players. And so I was yeah, not feeling the best the first 10 minutes, but then after that they were able to manage the pressure from Liverpool, and then yeah, basically everybody was out defending, tackling. The goal was just to not get scored on, and like I said, I didn't like that, but it paid off. We had the 3-1 and the overall goal, the overall score of the game and over 2 legs. So I think that was good enough for me. Although I was biting my nails throughout the whole game.
A lot of Madrid fans were. Yet again, Madrid did not have their starting defense. Ramos and Varane were out. What were your thoughts over this defense? Of course, they, did not let Liverpool score, but what were your thoughts?
Well, it's getting a little bit better. I do like Nacho has been cleaning up the little mistakes that he was making at the beginning when he was getting the play time because he wasn't a regular starter, So coming into high pressure games, you're gonna make some mistakes. So he's been really cleaning those up, and I think Militao. He's been playing, great. He's not the best, he's not always the smartest, but I think he's growing in. He's still young. He's got some time to grow into the position. Mendy, still, young as well, fast at the left back, but still also making a lot of those little mistakes. So that's kind of what we need to clean up, especially leading into the semifinals. And if we want to get into the finals and win it, we can't be making these little mistakes because they're going to kill you. PSG is going to kill you on those little mistakes with Neymar and Mbappe if they make it to the final. So we can't be doing that. And so I think this is a good preparation and a good outlook to what a Madrid team can do, even though we don't have all the pieces there, especially in the defense.
Francisco's looking onward towards the final. I see.
Yep.
will Ramos and Varane be back on time at least for the final? You think?
Well, I think Varane should be back because his was just COVID quarantine. It was just a positive test. Ramos was a positive test, but his was more recent, so he probably will be out for at least another week or two. Let's see, when are the games?
Till April 27th.
April 20th. Okay,
so it's about
2 weeks.
2 weeks,
almost.
yeah, ish.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he should probably be back. So I think both of them should be back for that game.
I mean, maybe. Well, I don't know.
Do
Probably should be back because I was thinking maybe stick with what you have right now, but I think you're more towards let's go back to the two center backs in the world, you say.
Yeah, exactly. At least Ramos. I mean, if we could get at least Ramos back, I think that'd be good and it'd help with the stability and just kind of that nervousness. I feel like that's how this defense plays without Ramos. Like Ramos helps kind of make everybody get those nerves out of them and makes everybody feel more comfortable. When you got the leader and the captain and the guy who knows what to do, basically with his eyes closed, he could defend. So yeah, we definitely need our captain back, El Capitano.
Liverpool, there was question marks of why Milner was starting over Thiago Alcantara. Do you think Alcantara should have started and the game would have been different from the start?
I mean, he does allow for a lot more creativity, a lot of more passing. Maybe Milner was just coming in to kind of wear down some of the players that Madrid was going forward with, kind of get some tackles in there and wear some of those players down like Vinicius and Benzema even, whatnot. I think, though, would it have made a really big difference? I don't think so. I think what Madrid was doing defensively, where they were going to be able to shut them out no matter what. Who was going in? They could have had Coutinho. It wouldn't have mattered.
Very true. Vinny Junior also had a shot in the 66th minute. Allison kept it out. But this Vinny player, I mean, has a lot of potential. Do you think we'll see more of him later in the stage in the semifinals and possibly in the finals?
I think he's showing that he's put his head down, and no matter what the media says, no matter what, because there was a lot of that doubt, I think, that came, especially after that stuff from last season with Benzema and him not passing, or not last season, earlier in the season, when they were talking about don't pass it to Vinicius because he he ruins it, he's gonna mess up the play. So I think he's showing that he's young, but he's also he can overcome these things that these young professional players usually get killed on, right? Like their morality and whatnot. They pay attention to social media, and these guys are getting just ripped on social media, for one shot or something that they missed, even though their team is now in the semifinals of the Champions League. So I think he's deserved the play time that he's been getting, and he's been showing it. And I hope that he keeps playing because I like form and I follow form. If he's playing well, keep him in there. I think it's going to lead to great things, goals and assists.
The Brazilian fitting really well, especially with Benzema up top. So things are kind of forming well for Real Madrid. We got a question from the YouTube comments from Peak or PK, and he asks, what do you think about the upcoming match versus Chelsea, which Madrid will be playing Chelsea in the semi-finals in 2 weeks? Yeah, Francisco, what are your thoughts? Obviously, you're still dissecting it right now. You're still thinking about it, but from this point, what do you think about the next upcoming match with Chelsea?
Well, I think it's going to be not as difficult of a match as Liverpool was, to be honest, because I think this Chelsea team, even though they've been pretty consistent and playing really well under Tuchel, I think all these moving pieces and him still trying to find his starting 11 and whatnot is just going to be too much for this semifinal against Madrid. Like Madrid are going to obviously come in here with a plan. Zidane is going to find a way to break down Chelsea. He's going to know how to do it. And Chelsea, I just think, are not going to be ready for that. I think they're just going to get tanked and and steamrolled by this Madrid team. Especially with them playing, like I said, with the pieces that they have. Chelsea have Kai Havertz, they have Pulisic, they have Timo Werner, they have Hakim Ziyech, they have all of these players, Mason Mount, that should be getting them goals, but they're not. They're getting one goal a game, maybe, if that. So there was only, I think, one game where they scored more than one goal, where they scored 5, I think. But yeah, I'm not really worried about Chelsea. I think their defense is going to be, if they go with 3-back, Madrid is probably going to match them. 3-back, or we're probably going to see a 3-back versus 3-back game, at least in the first one. I think that's how Chelsea are going to line up, and I think Zidane is going to match them and show them how you really play in a 3-back.
And we'll talk more about Chelsea and Madrid later in the show when Francisco will predict his score line and the aggregate series. Let's move on to the other match of the day, Man City, Dortmund. Man City defeated 2-1 to Dortmund. It was close in the beginning, but Man City sealed it to make the aggregate 4-1. Dortmund was trying, but Man City really wanted it more. Francisco, what are your thoughts over Manchester City defeating Dortmund, a Haaland Dortmund?
Yes, he's out of the Champions League. Well, as far as City, I think they were just able to confuse Dortmund once again with this false 9, with this rotating 9. Everybody gets a chance at playing striker with Mahrez, Foden, and De Bruyne. A false 9. There's just so much movement in this front line. It causes too much confusion. You may be able to stay with them for a half, but I think once, especially when you get a substitution going in there, they're just too good. Phil Foden, these guys, they will find Mars. Everybody will find a way to break down your defenders. These guys always find a way in, and I think that's what happened. Dortmund's, their defense is just not experienced enough. Matt Hummels is experienced himself, but the other defenders, I think, like Akanji, they don't even have an actual right back that's playing there. They've been having a couple of rotating players going there. So I think they were just not ready for it. Like, once again, that first game, they knew what City was going to throw at them, but they just are not experienced, I think, and good enough to be able to defeat it, even with the rawness of Haaland. There was just not enough there to break them down. Once you can get past the midfield maybe, but then you still got to get past Ruben Diaz, who has been just a wall this season. Nobody can get past him.
Goals by Jude Bellingham from
Yep.
Dortmund at the 15th minute. Then in the second half, Mahrez scored a penalty at the 55th minute. And then Foden, another hero, scored at the 75th minute, which they call him Maradona. For a lot of people are calling him that already. But we'll wait. It's two different players, I think, but it's a possibility down the road. This is the first time in a while that Guardiola surpasses the quarterfinals. He usually bows out in the quarterfinals.
Yep, and it's usually because he pulls out some crazy, lineup or scheme, something that he hasn't tried before, and that's usually what causes him to lose out. And he didn't do that this time. He played this literally the same way, with basically exact same formation and lineup in both games, with no striker, no Jesus, no Aguero. Aguero wasn't even on the bench, which just kind of shows you how they're giving him the backdoor exit.
With
and
yeah, with Man City's deep bench.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you take Aguero and Jesus, or start one of them? But I mean, it works for them, and I think some people would say that this is crazy for him, I guess, to do. But I mean, that's how they've been playing the whole season. So why try to fix what's not broken?
Exactly. Man City has figured out the whole situation, keeping the bench deep, of course, having the money to do so, and able to handle a couple tournaments, potentially winning the quadruple. They could win their league, which is looking good. They're up 8. Things are like they lost against Leeds last weekend, but looking good there. Of course, Champions League, they're looking good. They got some momentum going. League Cup against Tottenham, and of course the FA Cup. The quadruple's still alive, but hey, if you win the league or the Champions League, that's good enough. But Guardiola needs that Champions League, though. He really wants it because he hasn't won it in a while since Barcelona, since Barcelona. Didn't do it with Bayern Munich. So before we go, Haaland is the big talk about free agency this summer. Which club do you think he'll go?
Well, there's been a lot of talk over him. There was even recent articles that were coming out how Zorc, the sporting director for Dortmund, was saying, "Well, we're not going to sell him," which to me is kind of dumb. I think it's a dumb move. I think if teams are asking for his services and they're giving you a price for him that's over the amount of the buyout clause, because the buyout clause will be activated next year, but it's only 70 million. So why would you take 70 million next season when you can take 100 or more, or whatever teams are going to offer you? So I think if Dortmund if that's their position, that's kind of dumb. I think that's not really good business. You're not going to provide anything for him. I highly doubt that. It's a very slim chance that Dortmund are going to be able to get back into fourth place for the Bundesliga and actually in a Champions League spot, because as of right now, they're not. So they really don't have the cards in their hand right now that, as far as negotiating with Haaland. I think if he's going to be looking for a move out, he's going to leave. And it's going to be a big club. I think with Haaland and his dad and how he played at Man City, I think there's a really good option for him to be offered to Man City. And because Man City have a lot of money, I think that's there. I think we heard about Barcelona and Madrid and how there was meetings there last couple weeks ago. And so, I mean, there was pictures and everything. So there's no way you can't believe it. I think that he's they're looking for options. He's got Mino Raiola as his agent, one of the biggest. He has all the biggest names right now, and he's known for these really high profile contracts and negotiations. But I think City have a good chance. Madrid, Barcelona are going to fight over him. I think Man U also with Ole Gunnar. I think he has a lot of influence, and he's able to do those one-on-one meetings and talk to players and sort of do that thing. I think Man U also have a lot of money to play with. But we'll see what happens. We don't know. Like I said, Dortmund, if that's their position, I guess they could also sell Sancho, who's another big profile player, but I don't think they're going to get as much money as they could have got last year for him.
It's wide open for Haaland, at least more than Harry Kane is. So
Yeah.
let's let's look at the other games yesterday. Porto defeated Chelsea 1-0, but lost in aggregate 2-1. An amazing volley. I believe it was a chilena by Taremi. What were your thoughts over that match?
Yeah, I was hoping for a lot more from Porto. In the first match, they didn't have their playmakers, Sergio Oliveira, so that's what really hurt them. I feel like in the first match, I feel like Porto should have got a goal in the first match. I feel like Chelsea got lucky more than anything. There was, that second goal that was a giveaway essentially from Jesus Tecatito Corona, the Mexican. Got it stolen away, and Ben Chilwell just ran in, and so that was a pretty big mistake. That cost them that one goal. So yeah, I think in this match though, it was Porto fought, but I mean, the guy who scored the bicycle, Taremi, why didn't he start? He's basically your best striker. Like, I mean, I don't know. He's not the best striker. He's the second best striker, but I feel like he should have started, especially when he scored that bicycle kick. It was like, oh, okay. He knew what the game plan was, whereas I feel like Musa Marega, he only provides, a certain kind of, like, pretty much you're only crossing to him. That's kind of the only thing you're doing to him. He's big and he's good with his head, and that's about it. I think Taremi is a lot better, and I think that if he would have started, it probably would have been better for them. But yeah, I expected more from Porto. I thought they could have done it to Chelsea.
Hello from Sahib Haydarev from YouTube. Thanks for joining us here in the Sportscast. Christian Pulisic is the first American since DeMarcus Beasley in 2006 to make it to the Champions League semifinals. What do you think about that, Francisco? Has a Mexican ever made it to the semis?
I think so. I think Chicharito did.
I would say yes.
Sure.
Par with Madrid or Man United. One of the two.
Yeah, I think it was either with Madrid but I'm pretty sure Chicharito did it. But no, it's just funny because I guess DeMarcus Beasley wasn't a standout player to me. Like, yeah, he was American and he played in Europe, but I still. It's like, all right, that's what you have to compare to. It's like, all right, it's not really a big deal.
Well, back in 2002, he was huge. Him and Landon Donovan were the duo, but then like after those years, he kind of not fell off. I mean, he was still relevant, but not as big as Donovan. But yeah, it just depends who you ask, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, if you ask American fans, I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll be like, well, you don't give those. I'm like, all right, whatever, like DeMarcus Beasley. But now that the president has been set, now the next generation of players are going to be compared to Christian Pulisic, and I feel like that's a better standard and president to set, right? It's like, all right, look, here's actually a good player.
Yeah, exactly. And I could see a Weston McKennie maybe making it in this stage in the future. He's looking good for Juventus, but we'll see what happens with Ronaldo and all those pieces. The other match was PSG. Mbappe PSG beating Bayern Munich, which was a repeat of the final last year. It was 1-0, Bayern won, but the aggregate was 3-3. PSG won and away goals. This PSG team also has momentum. Francisco, huge win by PSG, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Big win to take down Super Bayern without Lewandowski, of course, which, a lot of people will say, it wasn't a real matchup then, a test because Lewandowski was not there. But it doesn't matter. Bayern should have had, a better second striker to support Lewandowski then. Why did you bring Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting, who's not really a good striker to me at all? He's just kind of he's like what do you call that? Like a poster boy type of player. Like, this guy never plays, but somehow scores like one goal, and people make him out to be like a hero or whatever. Like this guy has never been good to me, and I have no idea why Bayern picked him up. But other than that, I think PSG did well to manage the game, starting more and more to look like a Pochettino team. you can really see it, especially when they're forming up. You can call it a 4-2-3-1, but to me, it's a 4-4-2. That's what I was seeing. I was seeing Mbappe and basically either Neymar or Di Maria, depending on who wanted to go up higher, was playing as the supporting striker, second striker to Mbappe. But Mbappe was playing basically up top. And yeah, you got to watch out for this PSG team. They are super dangerous, especially with Neymar. At any point he could, pass it over the top to Mbappe and boom, you're down 1-0 before you know it. And then Di Maria, you still got him to worry about on the other side, who can put some amazing passes over the top as well. He's got amazing accuracy. And so, yeah, I think when you have, that in attack, the defense is so-and-so. I think that's probably the worst part. Not the goalie, but the defenders themselves, the center backs. Kimpembe, I think he's, still pretty young and he's still got a lot to learn. I think he makes a lot of those little mistakes. But yeah, I mean, I guess you don't really have to worry about it when you have Saint Gaylor in the goal, just saving you at every chance. He was what got Madrid to win the Champions League titles back in 2014, 15, and 16. So it is only right that he's doing the same thing here at PSG, and I think that's what's going to continue to be, the what keeps them in the games, because he's going to be making those key saves and those big saves when PSG are up 1-0 and those teams are coming at them because they need to score that other goal. But yeah, I think PSG is definitely the team to watch out for.
Francisco misses Keylor Navas, don't you?
Oh yeah, big time, big time.
Interesting player, he's played in big clubs and comes from Costa Rica, not known for their goalkeeping, but quite interested. His career so far, he's only 34, which I say that because in goalkeeper's lifetime, it could go up to 41, I think.
Yeah, right. He's like 25 right now.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to follow Gigi Buffon's lifeline, but
Yep.
But he's a rare kind. But yes, PSG advances. Also, before we move on, I've been hearing strong rumors of Harry Kane rejoining Pochettino with PSG. Could that be a possibility, or there's just not enough money for him?
No. I think as far as the money, there's definitely no concern for that. I think PSG could buy whoever they want. It's just a matter of whether that player wants to go there. And I think with there's moving pieces, I think, to this deal. If Mbappe leaves, obviously there's going to be a huge hole for PSG to fill, and I think Harry Kane could fill it. Not exactly 100%, one for one exchange, but I think with having Pochettino there, I think that would be the key, right? He knows how to play, he knows how to set him up. He got him to score a lot of goals while he was at Tottenham. So I think if Mbappe leaves, I think it would be a good option for them.
Something to definitely look at. Of course, Neymar resigned this past week. He's definitely coming back to PSG. And, of course, the big question mark is Mbappe, linked to your Madrid and, of course, Man City. So we'll see how things pan out. Mbappe is considered one of the best players in the world. Maybe the future, maybe like the next Ronaldo. But we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Now it is. Semifinals is set. PSG, Man City, Madrid, Chelsea, April 27th. Let's go into a brief prediction, Francisco. PSG versus Man City, a dynamic matchup. Guardiola versus Mbappe. I kind of look at it. How do you foresee this, and who do you think will win from this moment?
Well, I think for both of these teams, the key is going to be to score, to outscore. Obviously, that's the whole point of the game. But I think City will probably be the team that's more defensive. If there is going to be, a 1-0 or like a tight 0-0 game, or something like that, I think it's going to be because City are pushing for that. Not really risking anything. But we haven't seen a City team like that. They always take possession of the ball and everything and dominate the possession. But I think PSG with Mbappe and Neymar and Di Maria, they're gonna be too much. They're gonna overload this Man City defense. I don't think they've really been challenged in the Premier League. It is a league that's really fast paced and about goals, but I didn't see anybody challenging them, taking it to them. More or less, teams kind of just rolled over and were like, it's City, whatever. So I think that is going to play into this. And for the first game, I think it'll be probably 1-0. I'm going to give 1-0 to Man City. But the second game, PSG come all out 3-0. So 3-1 overall. But PSG go on through.
3-1 overall PSG. You mentioned about Madrid and Chelsea already. You could just give us a score because I know you explained it, but if you want to reiterate it, you're more than welcome.
Chelsea will have no challenge for Real Madrid.
Yeah, you've emphasized that a
games.
lot. Like it sounded like a walk in a way, but
yeah, it's gonna be a walk in the park for me. That's how I see it. First game, I'm gonna say Madrid 1-0, and then the second game, Madrid 2-1. So 3-1 overall.
Same aggregate. So it would be a Madrid versus PSG, France versus Spain matchup in the Champions League. I watched that.
Yep.
There's no way. There's no way that I could deny watching that game. But we'll see what happens. The games have to be played. A lot of things can happen between now and then. The whole team could get COVID for Zisco. And you have to get your B team.
They just moved the final 2 weeks later.
That's what they say. What do you think about that Madrid training ground stadium? Looks really nice. I like it.
Hey, I think it's fine. It's funny when people talk smack about your stadium, but they don't even know the size of the actual field. And I'm referring to Klopp, who was talking smack about the field.
He was blaming the field at one. Yeah, I remember that.
If you look up the size of the Stefano, I believe it is 111 meters long or 110. And I think Liverpool's is 107. So technically, Di Stefano is longer. So I don't know why he was complaining about the stadium size or the field size. Why would the Liga allow them to use the stadium if the field wasn't regulation size? Like that doesn't make no sense.
He was trying to find some blame, and it came
something
down
to blame. How about you blame yourself?
Yeah, Klopp has been a little bit moody this past season. It felt like
moody?
I know.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. No Champions League as of right now, so I would be feeling it. I would be feeling the pressure as well.
I mean, Van Dijk really made a difference, didn't it?
Oh yeah, big difference. They were blowing everybody out of the water last season. They had already won the title pretty much by this season. I think there was like April, or it was like one of the earliest that they had won the title, and that. Virgil was perfect on the season. Mane, Mo, all those goals they were scoring. But as soon as he took out the center back, as soon as he took the defense, not even the attack, it was the defense. Boom, the whole team just falls apart. And I know there was other pieces as well, but I mean, that's it. He's the best center back in the world. So that's what was missing. And it's been so drastic that they're not even in the Champions League right now. They're at 7th place. West Ham are in Champions League.
Yeah, I know. That's something that's quite interesting fact there. Moyes doing great things up in East London. West Ham is in East London. And also rumors are growing about Salah going to another club. I'm like, what? Can't be.
Yeah. And I think I even saw an interview with him where they asked Mo, like, so what are your thoughts on your future? And he was like, oh, that's not for me to decide. Like that's between the clubs. Like, and I was like, oh, like he doesn't really like, I don't know. It was kind of off-putting when he said that. I was
kind
like,
of awkward. Yeah.
Is he not gonna resign, or is he not like in good terms with them right now? But I think there's a lot of potential with him coming from Egypt, and there's a whole big market for Madrid to take advantage there, because I've heard Madrid have been calling him up. Not that we have wingers right now, but I think they're young. we don't have Galacticos. It's what was chosen, for the club. It was taken as a decision from the board that we would choose young players over investing huge money. But Florentino Perez just signed, and from what I heard is that he wants to have another transfer season like he did back in '09, and that is when Ronaldo came and Kaká. So
Wow. The Galacticos
he
Part
promised
3.
us. He promised us some big players, so hopefully he comes through with that promise.
We'll see if it comes through. There you have it, semifinals, April 27th. Only 2 weeks away. Soccer never stops. Let's look at the Premier League and La Liga games this weekend. Who do you have? West Ham at Newcastle, Francisco?
Oh man, I gotta take West Ham. I mean, Newcastle are just terrible this season. No defense. A team that basically just goes out there and says, "Yeah, let's see what happens." So I'm going with West Ham.
West Ham, David Moyes, London Derby, Fulham at Arsenal.
Fulham at Arsenal. Oh man, this is smelling to me like the perfect match to just make all the Arsenal fans super pissed off for no reason. So I'm gonna go with Fulham 1-0.
I think Fulham's gonna pull that off, and like there is question marks with Arteta. So
yeah, I mean, you got to give him a talk. I feel like at the end, it's like, all right, hey, I know we told you we were gonna trust the process, but this process is not what we wanted.
He's not giving him the like the same standards as Wenger, but Wenger had a good team starting off. But
yeah, that's true.
He had Henry. He had like half the French national team. So, and which was the golden generation back then. Anyways, La Liga, Atletico versus Eibar.
Atletico versus Eibar. I don't think Eibar have that much left in the tank to challenge Atletico. I think Atletico takes it.
And Atletico is slipping a bit, so which is leaving it wide open for Barca or Madrid to take over that first spot. And finally, Getafe versus Real Madrid.
Ooh, Getafe. Ooh.
Is this put your bench team there, or you still need to put your A team?
I mean, you don't want to put a little balance of the both. Champions League's 2 weeks away, so you don't have to fully rest everybody, but maybe getting a little rotation in there and giving Asensio and Vinicius some rest and get Rodrigo in there and get him some playing time. I want to see a little bit of him as well.
So Madrid's going to win.
Madrid takes the win. Yes.
Madrid has to win in order to win the Liga.
Yeah, they have to win.
They want to make sure they won one of the two or both, but you got to beat Getafe. So that's not a challenge for them. Poll question of the day on Twitter: what goes best with pecan, Francisco, pecan pie, candied pecan, butter pecan cookies, or pecan muffins?
Oh man, I think I'm gonna go with the classic, the pie.
Pecan pie.
Like the pie.
And pecan muffins are winning, 100%.
Muffins, 100%. No
pecan pie.
About it.
Maybe you could go ahead and vote it in Twitter and make it a little bit more interesting. And it's funny because when I was doing the choices, I was thinking of yes, I'm sure there's recipes that are not dessert-wise involving pecan. I was thinking of like green beans. I think I've seen one recipe where you mix pecans with green beans, but I didn't do much searching.
That doesn't sound good.
Yeah, exactly. Pecans usually goes well with sweets.
Yeah.
Or by itself at
dessert.
best.
Yeah, or just eating them like that.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, Francisco, what is the best way to reach you online, and tell us about your podcast?
Yeah, so you guys can reach me at my Twitter. It is at FranciscoBCP, and you can also search up my podcast. It is On the Calendar Soccer Podcast. You can search on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, any of the podcast platforms. We do shows every 3 or 4 times a week, and we just go over La Liga, Premier League, Champions League, and also go in depth into U.S. men's national team players and Mexican players, like the ones that are playing abroad, like Chucky Lozano and whatnot. So On the Counter Podcast, subscribe on YouTube. That is where you should subscribe to.
And MLS begins this weekend, Francisco. A lot of Mexican players are playing in MLS. What are your expectations for this season?
My expectation is that those Mexican players are going to be getting fat paychecks and they're not going to be scoring a lot of goals.
And they're not going to be welcome back to the national team, probably, right? Most likely.
Pizarro was probably the only one that's allowed as of right now, but only because Tato Martino loves him. I don't know why, but he does.
Yeah, there was that debate where, like, I've been hearing in Spanish radio, well, if these Mexican players go to the MLS, pretty much they're retiring, and there's no reason for them to be welcomed back to the national team. But it's interesting because I've been hearing more strong rumors about a Super League, Mexican League plus MLS, and I think you've been hearing it too. But I mean, do you think that will come to reality in in a few years?
I don't think so. I don't think so because there's nothing to gain for Liga MX from it. I feel like what they have done, as far as like the league is what is it called? It's flourishing. It's growing. The fans in the U.S. Are watching these Liga MX games. So I think there's more to benefit from MLS than there is from Liga MX. Liga MX, the teams have been there for years, for 40, 50 years, some of them, the academies, and they have super rich history, especially with the culture in Mexico. Soccer culture here in the U.S. is still overshadowed, by football culture, by college sports culture, basically everything else. Football.
It's because Landon Donovan left.
It's all Landon Donovan's fault. It's because Landon Donovan said he would support El3 as well. That's why.
Oh my gosh, that commercial I was not too happy about it.
They did not like it.
Yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's good to be hopeful. I think it's better for CONCACAF Champions League and to have tournaments like that. I think that keeping that rivalry, I think that's going to be more beneficial. I watch Liga MX, other people watch MLS, and we have arguments and discussions about that on Twitter or whatever, on podcasts, and I think that's better for the growth. I think coming together is going to create a lot more problems because you're going to have two different countries, teams from two different places, traveling, it's just, I feel like it's just too much,
it's too complex to travel from Boston to Mexico City.
Maybe if you add a relegation and promotion, maybe that could be one way to do that. But then, then you're just going to have to allocate resources and a lot more money to, two leagues now and travel for, more teams and whatnot. But I'm open to ideas, if there's a way to make it work, where both federations end up growing, because I feel like, this is something that no one has done this before. Like if this were to happen, it would be very unique, because of how big it is, and how popular the leagues are. You're basically smashing two of the most popular soccer leagues in the continent to try to make one. I feel like there's going to be a lot of work to do if they want to do that.
Looks complex. Let's just wait till an MLS team wins the CONCACAF Champions League, and then we'll talk.
Yeah. How about that? That's a good one. We'll table it.
Balance the force a bit, and let's get that over the hump, and then we'll talk negotiations. But anyways, you can find out if there's any news on that on thesportscast.net or on our Twitter at thesportscast1. Tomorrow, Victor Rocho will be on deck talking NFL draft, NFL mock-up, a lot of things going on with the NFL and Premier League this weekend, and then Champions League in 2 weeks. And we'll probably be having a super show before the final, and hopefully Francisco could come on with other guests and talk about what to expect in the final and things like that. So, but anyways, a lot of soccer talk, Champions League, Premier League, La Liga, and even the MLS got their chance in the show. So
got their 15 seconds of fame.
Anyways, Francisco, I appreciate you coming on to the Sportscast.
Thank you for having me.